Thanks for joining us for our Sunday look at the real story behind the big stories. I'm Richard Ransom, along with ABC 24 political analyst Otis Sanford. And Otis, this is a Memphis show, as we all know, but a lot going on in Nashville that I think would be of interest to Memphians for sure.
No question about it, Richard. You know, from the governor's race to the Secretary of State to an outgoing state senator from Germantown, we do have a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, we do, and in fact, that will be our first topic today, the happenings in Nashville. The governor taking some heat in a variety of fronts. The Secretary of State, who is originally from Bartlett, learns his punishment for driving drunk, and federal prosecutors' case against State Senator Brian Kelsey of Germantown just got a lot stronger this week. Back in Memphis, we're taking on the test of wills going on between Mayor Jim Strickland and the chairman of the Memphis City Council over who should run MLGW. And we'll also take a few minutes to talk about the huge contract extension for Tigers coach Penny Hardaway. What does it say about his commitment to Memphis and the U of M's commitment to him? We'll get to all that in a moment, but first, let me introduce the rest of my panel. In addition to Otis, behind him is Brad Broders, a reporter for ABC 24 here, and Susan Adler Thorp is a political consultant with Thorp Communications. So let's start with the governor, because he's the top office guy right now.
Right.
He got kind of into it with a tweet he sent out, reacting to the fact that the Metro Council of Nashville gave $500,000 in funding to the local Planned Parenthood. And he says, as cities across the country face surging crime, politicians in Nashville have chosen to defund local police to fuel an extreme political agenda. This is an affront to Tennessee families and taxpayers. And it's worth noting, according to a station in Nashville, $90,000 of that $500,000 did come from the police budget. Then, in response to that, though, Mayor John Cooper was having none of that. In fact, one of his top aides said, in 3 years, John Cooper has increased the operating funding for MMPD Nashville by 20%. He's increased pay, added 98 new officer positions, eliminated the backlog by getting new SUVs on the road, and replaced Vietnam War-era helicopters with brand new choppers. This seems to me like an unforced error. Why engage at this point in the middle of a campaign?
Well, I mean, obviously, Richard, this is for the governor. It is hitting on two talking points that he thinks helps him with his base. Republicans love to talk about defunding the police. Even though there is no defunding of the police, but it works with his constituency. And he also thinks that he can score brownie points with his voters by talking about abortion in this kind of way, calling it very extreme. I think the issue here really is this governor feels like he has a smooth sailing to re-election, and he can say the things that he needs to say to get his voters riled up to make sure that if they come out to the polls, he'll win in a landslide, and that's what he's trying to do.
And also position himself perhaps for future office, which those rumors persist too.
Absolutely.
Well, Jason Martin is having none of that. The doctor from Nashville, who is the Democratic nominee to run against him, will be on the November ballot. He is not happy that Governor Lee has said he's not going to debate or engage in a debate. And Governor Lee being called out on that because when he ran the first time, he said debates were a Tennessee tradition. And now he says he doesn't have the time. So, Susan, I'll let you tackle that one. Should there be a debate? And should Governor Lee, does he deserve the heat he's getting for not engaging in a debate?
Well, personally, I think Governor Lee should debate. I mean, debates always can help educate a hungry public. But if I were a paid consultant with Governor Lee on his political campaign, I'd advise him not to debate. I mean, the question is, he's the front runner. Why should Governor Lee give his opponent center stage and credibility as a candidate? When you're the front runner, there's no political advantage to you, and in this case for Governor Lee, to debate. So I can't fault him politically for not debating, but I think all candidates should debate when the opportunity is there.
Well, we like to show the ads that the campaigns are engaged in always, and Jason Martin did respond on social media with an advertisement to an ad that's currently running by Governor Bill Lee. I'm only going to show 45 seconds of the minute and a half ad, but Brad, we'll get your reaction on the other side of this.
You turn on the TV today, and it feels like the world's gone a little crazy, but not in Tennessee.
Governor Lee, that is such bullshit.
I'm proud of the work we've done the last 4 years.
You've been busy dismantling public education, denying women the right to control their own bodies, and denying rural Tennesseans access to health care. I would say it's been a busy 4 years for you.
America's fastest growing economy, America's lowest taxes, a lot more skilled trades.
Hey, it's me again. I know you're proud of that big rainy day fund that you've accumulated. I believe we need to have an economy that works for everyone, and that means investing in public education with our dollars. That means healthcare access, even in rural Tennessee, and that also means broadband internet from Memphis to Mountain City.
Okay, and on it goes there, but you get the idea. Brad, I don't know, what would you think about it before I weigh in on my opinion?
Well, I mean, this kind of echoes Susan's point. Governor Bill Lee is in command right now. He's the front runner in what's become a ruby red state, especially in gubernatorial races. He's going to just be I'm the incumbent Republican. He does this compared to other governors in Republican states such as Ron DeSantis. He always comes across in the public as more sensible, down to earth, not going into the political fray. He rarely ever gets back and forth with reporters. So I think, he's just kind of taking, I would argue, kind of just on cruise control to victory. He doesn't need a debate, in my opinion. I think Jason Martin, I think that ad is kind of a microcosm of what you would have seen if there would have been a debate. Jason Martin would have been a lot more combative, trying to rattle Governor Bill Lee, the incumbent. It would be unlikely that Governor Bill Lee would be rattled. But as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago with Otis on This Week, 538 on the ABC polling forecast has Governor Bill Lee with a greater than 99% chance of re-election. He's sailing high in the state. He has potential national ambitions, and I think this re-election bid will help that. And barring some catastrophic October surprise, I think Governor Bill Lee will win re-election, debate or not.
Hey, Richard,
Yes.
let me just add that real quickly, that the ad that Jason Martin has put on, that is his opportunity to debate the governor. He's coming across, he's answering those issues that Governor Lee has posed on his very nice, pleasant ad with a challenge of what it's doing and how it's hurting the people of Tennessee. That's his chance to debate.
Well, I think he hurt his credibility at the beginning of that with the bleeped out BS.
Yeah, right. I agree with that. I just don't think the ad is all that effective at all. And again, Governor Lee is on cruise control here, as Brad said. He does have some other ambitions. The one thing that he's going to have to improve going forward is the perception that he's a weak leader. Because that perception is still out there, even though he's probably going to win very handily. It's his leadership abilities and his political leadership that he has to work on if he has any ambition for some national office later on.
Well, he has a new ad out.
Well,
Go ahead.
Just remember that Jason Martin is trying to gin up his base too, and trying to get Democrats excited and going to the polls. I wasn't pleased with the BS, but I did listen to the rest of the ad, and I thought some of it might be very effective, especially with younger Democrats.
Okay, good point.
The question is, though, to Otis, Susan, and Richard, I mean, how many young Democrats are there? Is there enough to sway this? I mean, I just think the numbers in Tennessee are it's just too hard to overcome. I don't think Tennessee is at a point where, compared to our neighbors to the east in North Carolina, there's enough urban areas chock full of Democratic voters. We're not quite there yet in Tennessee. I don't know when Tennessee will be. For the time being, it's a ruby red state, and
well,
looks to be that way.
In politics, Brad, as long as there's life, there's hope.
Good line.